What if you went to bed as your regular everyday self, homework, chores, broccoli in your teeth, and woke up super? Would you fly to school, open jars with super strength, or accidentally turn your brother's toys into pudding? For 12-year-old Max, this wasn't just a wild thought. It happened last Tuesday. Max was as ordinary as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich living in Pleasantville, a town so dull the most exciting event was a squirrel stealing a donut. But sometimes the most amazing things happen on the most boring days. For Max, it all started with a flash of light and a sound like a giant burping robot. This is the story of how an ordinary kid became not so ordinary. It was a perfectly boring Tuesday. Max was supposed to be doing homework but was doodling dinosaurs instead. His dog Barnaby snored on a pile of laundry. Everything was quiet, too quiet. Suddenly the sky outside turned a weird glowing green, like the world was dipped in lime gelatin. A low hum filled the air, the wind howled, and clouds swirled above Max's house. Then rainbow lightning struck the satellite dish on Max's roof with a zap fizz boom. The lights flickered, the TV boinked, and then silence. Max's hair stood on end. Barnaby hid under the bed. The green glow faded. Max blinked, unsure if it was real. He had no idea that the rainbow lightning had just zapped him with something extraordinary. The next morning, Max woke up feeling floaty, literally. He was hovering inches from the ceiling. He yelped, bumped his head, and drifted back to bed. Was he dreaming? He tried to float again. Nothing. Maybe it was his imagination. As he got dressed, dust tickled his nose. He sneezed. Achoo! Suddenly he was invisible. He could see his room but not himself. He panicked, ran in circles, then flickered back into view. Floating. Invisibility. Was this from the lightning? He tried again. Nothing. Then he remembered. The sneeze. He found a dusty comic, waved it, sneezed, poof, invisible again. Sneezing made him disappear. The weirdest superpower ever. He was excited and a little scared. What else could he do? Max realized his life had just gotten a lot more interesting. He was ready to test his new abilities. Max faked a stomach ache to stay home and experiment. He discovered he could float by holding his breath and thinking happy thoughts. He was super strong. He opened the stubborn pickle jar and lifted the couch with one hand. He tried shooting lasers from his eyes. Nothing. Tried talking to Barnaby with his mind. No luck. Then, a fizzy energy built up in his hands. He aimed at a wilting plant. Zap! A pink, bubblegum-scented beam shot out and the plant perked up. His powers floating, super strength, invisibility by sneezing, and bubblegum-scented healing rays. He practiced floating, sneezing to disappear, and zapping plants until the house smelled like a candy store. This was the best sick day ever. Max wondered if there were more powers to discover. He felt unstoppable, and a little nervous, but he knew one thing: he was no longer ordinary, and Pleasantville was about to find out. Across town, something strange was brewing at the crunchy munchy potato chip factory. Dr. Phileas Doodle Fritz, a ketchup-stained inventor with wild hair, was plotting revenge after being fired for inventing homework-flavored chips. His plan? Use the Marshmallow-Matic 5000, a ray gun made from a hairdryer, toaster, and bicycle horn, to turn Pleasantville into a marshmallow paradise. His henchman Quackbot 3000, a 10-foot-tall robot duck with glowing red eyes. Prepare to unleash the fluffiness, Doodle Fritz cackled, climbing onto Quackbot's back. With a crash, they burst out of the factory, alarms blaring and potato chips raining down. The robot duck waddled toward the town square, leaving a trail of crumbs and villainous laughter. Pleasantville had no idea what was coming, but Max was about to find out. Max saw the news: giant robot duck, marshmallow ray, chaos in the town square. The police and fire department were helpless. Someone had to stop Dr. Doodle Fritz. Max looked at his hands. He had powers. He could be that someone. He needed a costume blue snow pants, red soccer jersey, swimming goggles, red bandana, and a yellow beach towel for a cape. He looked ridiculous, but also like a hero. He was scared, but he couldn't just sit and watch. He thought of his friends and family, all in danger. He gave himself a determined nod, called himself Max, and floated out the door toward the town square. This was his moment. He didn't have a superhero name, but he had courage. Max was ready to save Pleasantville. He soared clumsily into action. The adventure was just beginning. Floating into the town square, Max saw chaos. Marshmallow fountain, puffy trees, and Dr. Doodlefritz atop the robot duck. Max landed in front of Quackbot. "Stop right there, Dr. Noodle Schnitzel," he shouted, trying to sound brave. "It's Doodlefritz. And who are you supposed to be?" the villain sneered. "Quackbot, dispose of this nuisance." The robot duck stomped and quacked, shaking the ground. Max caught the robot's wing with super strength, stopping it just in time. Doodlefritz ordered, "Activate the egg Zuka!" A metal egg fired at Max. He caught it, barely, and hurled it away. The villain was stunned. "Impossible!" Max stood his ground, breathing hard. He'd survived the first attacks, but the fight was far from over. The robot's eyes glowed brighter, and Doodlefritz prepared his next move. Max knew he had to be smarter and braver than ever. The showdown was on. Pleasantville's fate hung in the balance. "No more Mr. Nice Villain!" Doodlefritz screamed. "Quackbot, full power!" The robot aimed the marshmallow-matic at Max. He floated up, dodging a marshmallow blast. From above, Max had an idea. He landed on the robot's back, dodging blasts, and climbed to the head. He fired a bubblegum-scented beam at the ray gun, turning it into a harmless bubble machine. Doodlefritz was stunned. "You've turned it into a bubble machine!" While the villain was distracted, Max fiddled with the robot's wires. Dust flew up his nose. Choo! He vanished. Invisible, Max yanked out a few wires, hoping for the best. He reappeared on the ground as the robot duck froze, its eyes turning blue. The robot waddled peacefully toward the pond, ignoring Doodlefritz, who was still on its head. "No, Quackbot, come back!" the villain cried as he was carried away. Max had done it. He'd outsmarted the villain and reprogrammed the duck. Pleasantville was safe. With Doodlefritz and his robot duck gone, the town cheered for Max, the hero of Pleasantville. The mayor shook his hand, the news interviewed him, and Max just shrugged. "I was just trying to help." He was a hero, but still just Max under the towel cape. The next day, life returned to a new kind of normal. Everything smelled like marshmallow and bubblegum. Max's friends asked a million questions. He opened the cafeteria pickle jar, becoming a lunchtime legend. His powers didn't make him perfect, just different. And different was cool. He practiced floating, tried to control his sneezes, and discovered his bubblegum beams could fix toys and improve spaghetti. Max was learning one clumsy, superpowered day at a time. He was a hero, but also just a kid figuring things out. You don't need a fancy costume to be a hero. Just courage, kindness, and maybe a freak lightning storm. Anyone could have a secret superpower waiting to appear. It might not be floating or super strength, it could be the power of being a good friend. So, keep your eyes open. You never know when you'll be called to save the day, even if it's from a giant robot duck.